Painting is as easy as we make it, and in this video I will share some simple tips on how to improve your painting. I break my process into 3 phases, starting with blocking in. Blocking in is a way in which we can quickly get paint onto the canvas and identify the composition. This makes it easier to see when things aren't quite right early on, as well as being able to build a new layer on top of the previous to create realism. So I start by mixing my colours and then I add a touch of turpentine. Adding the turpentine will allow the base layer to fully dry the very next day. As you can see here, my mixture is quite thin. In the original paint there, it looks much thicker. So this kind of consistency is just about right. So here I am blocking in the main colours, finding where the highlights would go, followed by the shadows. When you're completely finished with one colour, you'll notice that there's so much paint left on that brush. So here is 2 jars of turpentine. I'll mix the paintbrush in this turpentine. You can already see the paint coming off there. Give it a good mix, wipe it off on the edge of the jar, and then rub it back onto the paper towel. Now that's pretty good. But if I was to put this back into a clean jar of turpentine, you'll notice that the water is still cloudy. So if you was to put that paintbrush in a new paint, you're just going to get a mix and it can become muddy. You can see here that the paintbrush is fairly clean, and then when I wipe it once more, there's almost nothing on it at all. What I like to do is find the shadows of whatever it is that I'm painting first. So if I'm thinking about trees, whether they're in the background or the foreground, I'm trying to think of what the shadow colour of it would be, which is usually a very dark blue, a very dark green. I would then later apply the bright green highlights that you would see on a tree. If you think about when you're at school and you paint a picture of a tree, you go straight for that bright green. But we want to think of it in the opposite way and start dark and build up your colours. I come back to my painting 24 hours later, and as you can see, there is no paint coming off of the canvas onto the glove, which means it's ready for its second layer. In the second phase, I lay down my colours: titanium white, ivory black, burnt umber, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, magenta, cad red, yellow lemon, and cad orange. This time I use liquid original. It speeds up the drying time and improves the consistency of the paint. This part of the process is all about building it up. So once you apply the second layer, you'll notice that the consistency of the paint is a lot thicker, so you won't be able to see the underpainting as much. I can then apply the leaves and the colours of the leaves, and it will start to form a really nice picture. I tried to keep my palette nice and simple. You'll be surprised on how many colours you can make with such a small and simple palette. The painting will also look more harmonious because you've not got lots of colours going on and it doesn't become too dirty or muddy. In the final stage, you can think about smaller details that create a picture, and this can be done on a wet canvas, so no need for any drying time at this point. I just go over the top of the previous layer with thicker paint. I usually use a bit of impasto, and that works really well and gives a really good texture at the end. So I find my colours, I add the highlights and the shadows, and I just build up the process from there until each section is done. If you found this video helpful, or if you have a question, please comment below and I'll get back to you. I'm more than happy to help. And hopefully these tips were really useful to you and you can use them in your next painting.